What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another mint on card vintage Star Wars market update. And I'm still trying to get over all of those holy grails that sold a week or so ago on eBay that we talked about already. And here are some other items that I think are really interesting sales. Some of the prices are pretty amazing given the current market environment. We've talked about how a lot of the more common items seem to have dropped in price. Well, I've got some fairly common items here, not all of them, but a lot of them, and the prices are really holding steady. So I can't make heads or tails of the current market environment, but I thought we would take a look at everything from early 12-backs all the way through to a Kenner Canada Droids R2-D2. All of these are mint on cards, some of them graded, some of them not. But let's go ahead and dig right in. Let's start off with the 12-backs. First is a 12-back A Princess Leia Organa. And this is an AFA 80, 85, 85, 80. Or it looks like are the sub-scores here. So very high grade, early 12-back Leia. This one obviously did not have the SKU on the footer. It did have a price sticker in the upper left, and it was a punched example, and it was a buy it now situation that sold for the list price of $3,000 plus $10.65 shipping. So big money on a Princess Leia 12-back. Lots of different 12-back Bs sold, some graded, some ungraded. This one was an ungraded example of the Stormtrooper with a price sticker, also a punched example. It looked like it had some very light card wear, around the hanger tab there, up the top. You can see some creasing. Belk. Remember Belk? I don't know if you guys are. I think it was Legates, and then it turned into Belk. And now it's not around at all, I don't think. But anyway, this one did have the Belk price sticker. And it's probably like, if I had to guess, I mean, the seller says it's like an AFA 80 quality, but I don't think it's that high. The figure looks like it's got quite a bit of degradation going on. Probably a 75 would be my guess, but who knows? It all depends on who's grading it and how they feel that day. But certainly a nice example. It's nothing to scoff at here. That one sold in an auction for about $800 plus $20 shipping. So that one closed on May 14th. So that's the ungraded example. Now I've got a graded example that was also punched, AFA 80, 85, 80, 80 for this 12-back B Stormtrooper. You can see there it's got the archival case. Again, it was a punched example, no price sticker on this one. And you can see the difference in price. So this one sold for about 2.5 times what the ungraded example sold for. So this one sold for $1,800 plus $14.50 shipping. This one was a buy it now situation, but the figure itself looked to be a lot cleaner on the inside there. No kind of degradation going on. Blaster still inside his hand, and the card in general was just a lot cleaner. But that's a pretty big price difference, $1,800 versus this ungraded one that sold for about $800. So here was another ungraded 12-back B. This was the Death Squad Commander. No price sticker, but again, it was a punched example. And this one commanded a little bit more money. Very clean. This is every bit of an 80, in my opinion. This one's much closer to 80 grade condition, and I think it would definitely get an 80 with the grading company versus that Stormtrooper that I think was probably really more like a 75 grade. This one sold for $1,111 plus $20 shipping. So look how beautiful that card back is. That's a gorgeous example of the DSC. Next up was another 12-back B. This is Vader, Darth Vader. Again, a punched example and archival case. 80, 80, 85 were the sub-scores on that one. That one sold in an auction. Only one bid, $2,378. So, I don't follow 12-backs closely enough to know whether that's fair or not, but my gut says that's probably about what it would get, if not higher, if this was for sale on like Hakes, for example. So, another data point there for a 12-back B. Here is a 12-back C Chewbacca graded AFA 80. This one was an unpunched example. It did have the price sticker there in the upper left-hand corner. The sub-scores were 80, 80, 85 for that beautiful Chewbacca. You can see the ding on the blister there in the upper left. The graders were pretty generous on that one. I think, more likely that's probably like a 75 given the size of that ding, but probably an overall 80 grade. And that one did sell for $2,500 free shipping. So that's a big number for a 12-back C Chewbacca, but that's a beauty. Next up, we've got an AFA 80 12-inch Darth Vader. This one is mint in sealed box, so you can see there it's got the red label for AFA, signifying that it's not qualified grade. The box got a 75, the window got an 85, and the figure got an 85. So very high grade. Only one bid on this one. $1,299 plus $35 shipping. I think that's a pretty good price, given that ungraded, these can sell for anywhere from $700 to $900 has been kind of the going rate. I'm surprised it got an overall 80 grade. You can see the damage there on the bottom there. So I don't know if this happened after grading, which is very possible. You know, the figure could have like jostled down and caused this damage to the Darth Vader box. And maybe that's why it got the score or got the price it did, $12.99. You know, it's very possible. Let's check out the labels here. Primary defect is the top cover with a peek through, which is probably why it got the 75 on the box. But I don't know. To me, it probably would not get a 75 grade if this had happened pre-grading. So you really got to take a look at the notes in the listing for these items. But to me, if I had to guess, this probably happened after grading. So again, it still got $1,300 for it plus shipping. So and it's a stunner. But if I had to guess, I would think that inner tray for the Vader must have jostled around in shipping, and that head kind of poked through the top of the box there and caused the damage. But nevertheless, that's what it sold for, $12.99 plus $35 shipping. Here was an AFA 80. I think it was an 80. No, this was an ungraded example, but it included a sledding acrylic case. The seller said that it's kind of like 80 grade condition for the 20-back Tusken Raider, 20-back A. Again, it was a punched example, no price sticker. I would say this is probably an 80 grade. You know, there's some defects to the card here and there around that price area in the upper left. There's some kind of scuffing and dirt, but the blister was in great shape. The cape had not degraded at all on that Tusken Raider, which is a common problem. You really got to zoom in on the figure, even inside the blisters. Those capes can really degrade, as we've talked about in past videos, but this looks every bit of an 80 grade to me for the 20-back Tusken Raider. That one sold in an auction for $510, 29 bids plus $25 shipping. I think that's a good price. Really great price for a 20-back. And, you know, I do think they would probably hit an 80 grade. So that's a good deal. Next up was a 32-back B Princess Leia. It did have some obvious condition issues there. You can see that the hanger tab looks to be torn all the way through, and that held the price down a little bit. But beautiful crystal clear blister with the weapon still taped to the inside of the blister. It's a shame that hanger tab had some pretty major damage. Fred Meyer, we all know about Fred Meyer. Fred Meyer price stickers there. But anyway, that one sold for $318.31, and again, it's probably because of the hanger tab damage at the top. And it also did on the footer there, as you can see in this photo. It's got the K, and that's the Cater Factory. Cater Factory. So sometimes you'll see an S or a U for the Unitoy or Smile Factory, but this one had the K for the Hong Kong Cater Factory. So that's pretty cool. But again, $318, that's probably a pretty fair price given the hanger tab issue there. Really good price on that one. Next up was a 41-back B Yoda graded AFA 75. It was a yellowed blister there. The label did not note that the blister was yellowed, so this one obviously had yellowed since grading. But very tough I found it tougher to find the 41 backs versus obviously the 32 backs, which is his debut card. That one was really produced in mass numbers and kind of very easy to find on eBay and elsewhere. But nice unpunched example, but it's a shame that the blister had yellowed since grading. There's the label on that one. It looks like it's got a card of 75, blister 85, figure 90. 75, but again, it's not noted as a yellowed blister. And that one did sell for 440 pounds across the pond, which is $548 US plus shipping on that one. Another 41 back. This is the Ugnaught, offerless Ugnaught. This one is ungraded with unpunched with a Kmart price sticker in the upper right hand corner. Still crystal clear blister on that one. That one sold for $193.50. I thought that price was great. The only big condition issue is down there in the lower right-hand corner on the front. You can see some kind of damage there to the card back, but probably a 75 grade at worst. It looked to be really, really good shape overall, but for $200, that's a pretty good buy. That's a pretty good buy for a clear blister offerless Ugnaught ESB card. Next up is a Squid Head. This one is the 65 back B. So this is not the debut card. I think his debut card is a 65 back A. Is that right? Don't quote me on that. But it was slightly yellowed, but not too bad. I mean, obviously these Return of the Jedi US releases can yellow pretty heavily, but this one wasn't too bad. It was unpunched with a price sticker, JCPenney price sticker. That one sold for $109.50. And squid heads in general, they're not that expensive, even in high grade. They can, you can probably find one for $200 or less, and this one obviously went for even less than that, $109.50 plus $15 shipping. We got some tri-logos that sold. This was the Darth Vader. Obviously, some pretty big condition issues with the blister there. Looks like it had some sticker residue on the front, obvious dings to those very fragile tri-logo blisters. But Vader's always very popular, and you're going to be paying some decent money for him. I mean, I paid a lot of money for mine, way more than this one. For my ungraded example, it ended up getting an 80 with Collector Archive Services. This one was a punched example with some kind of edge wear to it, but that one still sold for $297 on 31 bids. So lots of action, plus $10 shipping. This was the big surprise, though. This one was an AFA 80 Plus 21B tri-logo, and it did sell. I don't know why. So this one was at auction with a starting bid price of $1,000 plus $24 shipping. And I don't know why, but I knew that this one was going to sell. I just, because it's hard to find the 21B on the tri-logo. So I put it on my watch list, even though there was no bids on it. I was like, I bet somebody bids on this. And I was right. I was right. And this one did sell at one bid for $1,000 plus $24 shipping. That makes me feel a lot better about my AFA 85 that I bought for quite a bit less than this. I think I paid about 40% less, maybe 30% less than this after factoring in shipping and things like that for my AFA 85. But that, again, that was like 3 or 4 years ago that I bought mine. But that one did sell for $1,000. So sometimes my intuition works. But I will admit that sometimes I watch these really high starting bid items and they don't sell. So you just never know. But in this case, I was right and it did sell. 80, 80, 85 were the sub-scores. Rounded corner blister. I don't know if mine's the rounded or the etched style blister, but that one did sell for $1,000 plus $24 shipping. Next up was a yellowed blister, 77 back A Stormtrooper, but it was graded 85. There were no sub-scores on this one, so obviously this was before AFA moved over to sub-scores for the card, blister, and figure. And as I've talked about, it's a lot harder to get an 85 for these older style figures. I think AFA was a lot more strict back then, apparently. But this 77 back A Stormtrooper did get the 85, unpunched, beautiful example. Fairly moderate yellowing, though, and the blister did, or excuse me, the blaster did fall out of the tape, so keep that in mind. But that one sold over in Europe for 481 euros, which is 522 US dollars. Now, let's say this one was a clear blister AFA 85 Return of the Jedi Stormtrooper. I bet you could probably pretty close to double that price. I've seen some clear blister Return of the Jedi Stormtroopers in high grade that have sold for close to $1,000. So I think that probably would have been the case on this one. But still, that's a beautiful example, and 522 US dollars took that home. This was in the Holy Grail lot of items that CIB had for sale. I didn't cover it because I didn't really consider it a Holy Grail, but it is a really nice item, and that's a Peter Mayhew signed Chewbacca, vintage Chewbacca. It got the qualified grade because of the signature on the front of the card back. So qualified yellow near mint 80 plus, card got an 80, blister 85, figure 80. It doesn't mention the signature on there, but instead they just gave it a qualified grade. But I think we can all agree that that's probably Peter Mayhew's signature. He's got a very distinctive signature. That one sold for $435. For whatever reason, collectors do not spend big money for autographed vintage items. In general, they go for less money than if they had not been autographed at all. So this is a lesson, and I've gotten that question a lot from subscribers in the past, saying, hey, I've got these items, I'm getting ready to go to a convention, which ones should I send in? And they'll send several photos, some of them vintage, some of them modern. And I always tell people, in general, collectors do not like to have signatures on these vintage toys. I think you're better off going with modern items. And I think this data point supports that. Not that the price matters that much. I mean, you know, if it's for your personal collection, do whatever you want to. But if you're trying to add value to an item, take a $15 or $25 modern item and get it signed versus a mint on card vintage Kenner item, because in general, they go for less than if it had not been signed at all. And that would be my argument. If this had been a 77 back A, 80 plus, yellowed near mint, without the signature, without the qualified grade, I bet it would have sold for more than $435. Again, I'm not trying to say that price is the end-all be-all. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I am trying to say is that if you're trying to decide between taking a vintage item and a modern item to a toy convention to get it signed, take the modern item, is my personal opinion on that. But do whatever you want to. It's your item. Next up, we've got a yellowed AFA 90. Yellowed AFA 90 77 back A, Hoth Rebel Commander. Very tough to get 90 grades. And, this is the U.S. release unpunched example. Again, it is yellowed, so those blisters are very fragile, and it's going to hold the price down quite a bit versus if this had been a clear blister. It only sold for $360 on 29 bids. Now, if it had been a clear blister, Return of the Jedi, Rebel Commander graded AFA 90, easily double this price, easily, if not 2.5 times. But that one did sell for $360 free shipping. Next up, I was really shocked by the sales price on this one. This was an AFA 85 77 back B short mouth biker scout. So this one is the Lily Letty, and it was graded 85, admittedly. So straight 85s for the sub scores. It was a punched example, though, and the card had quite a bit of wave to it. So, maybe this was one I had in my what to buy video. I can't remember. I can't keep it all straight. But with that card wave, maybe it's just my imagination. It looks like it's got some card wave to it in the back there. But again, it could just be the off-kilter sticker, and I seem to remember talking about that. But there is a little card wave to it. You can see at the bottom of the case there that it kind of goes in towards the middle. But I was shocked by that final sales price, $784 and change, plus $12.45 shipping. So almost $800. Now, again, it is a clear blister, which is common for the Lily Lettys. They tend to stay clear. And it's a foreign variant made for the U.S. market. And it's also very high grade, 385 sub scores. But man, that is a big number. I was expecting more like maybe $550 to $600. Big number on that one. Next up is an ungraded, another Lily Letty. This is the 79 back Paploo. And that one sold for $152.50. That's always a good value right now. I feel like Paploo on this particular card back, whether it's the U.S. card or the Kenner Canada card, pretty good buys, pretty good deals on those. They usually go for $150 to $250. So that one I think was a really good buy at $152.50. Next up, this was an interesting one. It's a double offer Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight green saber inside, but it's got the Anakin offer as well as the free coin offer, plus the Walmart price sticker. That's got a lot going on the front of that card back. Very moderate yellowing. It was graded AFA yellowed 80, 80, 80, 90 were the sub scores. Archival case, 79 back B. So very cool. Double offer stickers, though. That's really cool. And that one sold for $255, $318. That is a bargain of a price for a double offer sticker card back for Luke Jedi. I would have paid that all day long, and I think it's worth every penny of that, if not more. Next up is a Power of the Force Warwick Last 17 figure. Ungraded, that sold down in Australia for 480 Australian dollars, which is 319 US dollars. It is unpunched, and it does have that wider punch tab that I wasn't sure about, and you guys rightly corrected me and said, no, they came with that kind of larger hang tab versus some of the ones I'm more used to. So you guys are right. I don't know anything about Power of the Force, I freely admit. It did have the Toys R Us price sticker on the front, but overall pretty great shape, probably an 80 grade, and $319 US is a pretty good buy on that one. Next up was a CAS 75 grade Luke Indoor Poncho Last 17, unpunched, fairly moderate yellowing. That one sold for $405. I mean, again, I've seen ungraded loose complete Luke Indoors go for $350. So to get it for $405 in an auction, mint on card, unpunched, and fairly high grade. I mean, 75 grade's not super high, but it's mint on card. And to get it for $405 plus $15 shipping, that is a steal of a deal. Finally, we got the Kenner Canada Droids R2-D2 unpunched, fairly moderate yellowing, but a stunner. And the prices on these have come down a little bit. They were kind of going, I'd say $1,300 to $1,500 in high grade like this, even ungraded. And now this one sold for $1,030 plus $20 shipping, so about $1,050. Pretty good value on that one. I don't think it had any cracks. I don't see any cracks to the blister on that one, but just be aware that if you buy one of these, they do break really easily. I've seen a number of these where collectors have bought these and then in shipping, after winning them on eBay, they break in shipping, or even after grading. I've seen CAS and AFA graded examples where they break after grading. So it's a really delicate situation. No pun intended on those blisters, because they are very delicate. Sometimes the saber will pop out of R2-D2 and crack the top of the blister too. So anyway, 1050 took that one home. Lots of good values out there. Some of them went a little bit higher than I expected, but there were some really good deals out there. So you really got to check out your searches on eBay, and maybe you can find something for a good deal that kind of falls under the radar. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon.